Family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Thank you for joining us today on the Shoot Around, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to break down training camp, day one. Talk about some storylines from today's training camp. We got a group with us, nice little group. Of course, I'm in the group. We got Andy in the building. Cornerstone Kev has come out of the doldrums to join us, ladies and gentlemen. He's come out of the doldrums. We're glad to welcome him back to the panel. And we're going to go ahead and get this thing on and popping, folks. Before I get there, I do want to ask you to please, if you have not checked it out, go check out the interview with Emmanuel Quickly's former high school coach, Tony Martin. It was a great interview, very good interview. He shed a lot of light on Emmanuel Quickly, talked about his ability to play point guard in the NBA, specifically for the New York Knicks. Talked about his development from high school to the NBA. Talked a lot. It was really good. It's really good. Let's get over here to the group. Fellas, what's popping with you this afternoon? Andy, how are you feeling?
What's up? What up, Sim? What up to the chat? What up to the panel? Happy to be on. Happy to be hearing stuff finally some news from Knicks world. So, every day with any little bit of news about the Knicks, fresh news is a good day. So
yeah, exactly. Any day is a good day. And it's finally, it just feels good to be able to have fresh news. Not stuff that creators like me and everybody else fabricate, at least according to, other people that just watch the creators. Some people say, oh, you guys are just making up stuff just so you can have news. Well, sometimes, yeah. Anyway, Josh, what's popping with you, bro?
Salute MBK fam. Salute to the panel. Salute to the chat out there. I'm glad, like you said, I'm glad that there's finally some Knicks basketball that's being played, albeit, in practice and in training camp. I know the battles are going to be going crazy from now until the first preseason game until the start of the season. So it's exciting, and go Knicks.
Yeah. Nate?
What's up, y'all? Yeah, man, it's right around the corner. I think the first preseason game is October 5th. Am I right? Correct?
Something like that.
Yeah, so, yeah, man, I'm excited, man. Let's get going. Shoot.
Yeah, and Cornerstone Kev is in the building. He is in the building.
Knicks forever.
He's going to whisper. Ladies and gentlemen, he's going to whisper because he's at work. You don't want his boss to catch him. Just alert him. If you see somebody coming from behind, because he can't see behind him. If you see somebody coming from behind, just let him know. Say, hey, Cornerstone, turn around. Cover your screen.
I had to come on because I missed my boys. I love y'all to death. Salute to the chat. Salute to my brothers on the panel. It's been a minute. I'm still doing my show on Thursdays from 6:30 to 8, the Pod Couple. So that's pretty much what's going on. But I had to come on, man, because my presence was missed. So I had to come on. You know what I'm saying?
Doubt. People started saying Cornerstone was too good. He was too good to join MBK. You know what I mean? That's what we're getting out there.
This is where I came from. So there you go.
Hey, Kev. R.I.P. Frank, man. Still love the guy.
Oh, we're not even gonna get into that conversation.
We're gonna get into it.
Frank Ntilikina
It's all about what's on Andy's wall right now.
Okay.
Deuce McBride.
Exactly.
That's who it's about.
Okay. Because Frank Ntilikina is not in training camp with this team. He's in training camp with another team. We're not even going to get into that discussion.
Exactly. I'm worried about my team right here.
Yeah. I hope Frank Ntilikina kills it in Dallas, though. I'm not going to lie, but we're not even going to get into all of that.
Right.
We're going to talk about what's going on with this training camp for the New York Knicks. We heard from Tom Thibodeau today. We heard some good stuff. We heard that they've got to have extra staff at the Westchester training facility to open up at nights because players want to come in and train. He talked about Mitchell Robinson. He talked about Luka Vildoza being in a boot. Went over a lot of things, man. But I think what I take from the biggest thing I took from Tom Thibodeau And what he discussed today was Mitchell Robinson and Mitchell Robinson's injury and where he is in the progress of recovery. So I want to listen to Tom Thibodeau. All right, it's about 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 38 seconds. We're going to listen to Tom. Then I want to talk about Mitchell Robinson and his recovery, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. We're going to listen to Tom Thibodeau right now, and you get a chance to see him.
Mitchell, it's encouraging because each day he's doing more and more. He feels really good, which I think is important. And he's put a lot of time into film study, and he's done things where he was sitting in a chair and handling the ball, shooting out of a chair, shooting, stationary shooting, form shooting, cardio in the pool, cardio on a bike. And when you guys can see the physical difference, he's done a lot of strength training. So he's handled it as well as you can handle it. So I think sometimes, when you have some time off like that, you can take a step back and get a broader view of everything. And I think he has a good understanding of how important practice preparation is, and just observing the playoffs last year. And when you go back through the season, you see that he had a number of big games against quality teams for us. So what he brings to our team is unique, and his contribution to the team is very important.
When Mitchell is healthy, you guys are capable with him in New Orleans just having a rim protector on the floor at any time. Does being able to have somebody who can make a difference at the rim for 48 minutes, does that affect the freedom that you give your defenders on the perimeter?
Yeah, I think it's critical just because of the way the game is played now and the way the game is officiated. So rim protection, I think, is a huge element. And it doesn't really matter how the game is being called, but sometimes it's tighter, and basically all the rules have really benefited the offense in the last 5 years. And so body position, technique, everyone working together, reading the ball well, stance vision on the weak side, moving on the flight of the ball, all those things matter. But then your last line of defense is critical. And I think you have to develop that multiple effort mentality. You got to fly around and understand that we do have elite rim protectors sitting back there. So there's no substitute for hustle. I think sometimes you try to do things the right way, and there will be some mistakes. And we always say, if we have a problem, take care of the problem.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's break this down. Let's begin by talking about his progress concerning his injury. Andy, I want to start with you. We heard that obviously he's not practicing, did not practice today. Shooting from a chair, form shooting and things like that. What are your thoughts on it? Concerns, thoughts, anything?
Sim, well, you got to chase already to the finish. If he's shooting a week before the first preseason game, basically a week, right? And if he's shooting from a chair, he's not going to be playing in that game. And that being said, I don't think he's going to be playing on opening night. And I think we can even go as far as that. Because listen, in training camp, we know that the guys go really hard. They prepare themselves. But no, he's really far away. I'm not going to lie. The shooting from the chair with a broken foot, that should be like a week or two after you got surgery. Then you can shoot from a chair, not like, a week before the preseason opener. So I'm a little bit disappointed, but I understand that the Knicks don't want to rush him because they saw what Nerlens can do, that he can hold the fort for a couple of games. And if it's needed, we got Jericho Sims that can plug in a couple of minutes. Also, Taj Gibson. I'm pretty sure Taj is going to see minutes before Jericho Sims even. But it's for me, it's a little bit disappointing. I'm not gonna lie that I saw Mitch, being way ahead of the schedule, not shooting from a chair.
Okay. Josh, what are your thoughts?
I would have to agree with Andy on that. I think it is a little bit concerning. Mitchell Robinson's coming off a season-ending injury from last season that took him out for pretty much half the season or whatever the case may be. And I wasn't a big fan of the amount of weight that he gained over the offseason and perhaps the last 2 years. I did want Mitchell Robinson to gain a little bit of weight to be a little kind of girthier, but at the same time, 280 pounds is a lot of weight for a guy that is naturally skinny or ectomorphic, what have you, to be carrying around. And I don't think Mitchell Robinson is close to coming back anytime soon. Obviously, the Knicks are going to need him towards the middle of the season and towards later in the season when we start talking about seeding and things of that nature. But as of right now, I think the Knicks are, playing it smart, keeping him, limiting him from, going out and playing. I don't expect him to play in the preseason, and I think it's not far to say that he won't be playing for at least the first game of the season. So, a little bit concerning. Hopefully, he needs to continue to rehab, get himself to playing shape, and then we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Kev?
Okay, so I'm going to take it the other way. I'm not really concerned right now because from a team's perspective, I think we'll have enough to carry us through. We are going to need him if and when we go back to the playoffs. So we are going to need him then. Now, from his perspective, I'm glad that he's taking it slow. I thought I saw him taking not shooting from a chair, but I thought I saw him actually shooting just one hand shots. And I didn't think they were from a chair. Were they from a chair? Because what I was watching was today. Did y'all see that? Or
I don't know if I seen him taking shots. I do have a picture of him standing up with the ball, getting ready to shoot it.
Okay, yeah. That's what I saw. So, so I'm glad that he's taking it slow. I'm hoping that that he at least, we say that no one thinks that he's going to be ready by opening night, and unfortunately I have to agree with that. But I'm hoping that he comes back towards like the end of October, the beginning of November. That's what I'm hoping for. But I believe that we have enough at that center position between him, Taj, and one guy that you mentioned, Andy, who I want to see greatly, Jericho Sims. I think this will be his opportunity, even though he is a rookie, and with the way everything's stacked up, it doesn't look like that Jericho Sims will get the amount of playing time that he's expecting, but at least he'll get a look, and I think we'll be fine. That's my opinion. I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
And what are you smiling at, Mr. Josh? And I can't hear you.
Glad to have you back, Cornerstone.
I just hope that Mitch is going to be healthy. Whatever the Knicks need to do to ensure his health is what I need them to do or want them to do. But I am concerned that he's not ready yet because we need Mitchell Robinson to be out there. And I hate adding players into the starting lineup 2 months into the season, because now your team's got to go through a whole nother set of adjustments based on the way that player plays.
Yeah. Sim, in your honest opinion, do you think he would have made a difference in that Atlanta series?
Yes. Huge difference. I think it would have made a huge difference defensively and offensively. Right? Offensively, because I talk about it all the time. The fact that he's able to spread the floor vertically, he can catch oops, he can get way up above the rim, changes what you do on offense because he sucks in the defense. Off the screen and roll, teams are afraid that he's going to catch that alley-oop. They suck in, it leaves the wings open. So, yes, I think he would have made a big difference. Does it mean we would have won it? I don't know, but I think he makes a big difference.
But it would have made a difference, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think he makes a big difference. I'm going to get Nate back in the chat, but before we do that, I do want to listen to Emmanuel quickly. And Nate, if you want to jump in and say something quick about Mitch when you get back in, you can do that. But I want to listen to Emmanuel quickly talk about his training during the offseason and what he thinks and where he thinks he has developed. This is Emmanuel quickly, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I feel like, as a team, it's big for our chemistry. And then individually for me, it's big. Just understanding everything. I understand, my time schedule. I understand, where to be at what time, or just little things like, how to eat right. It's just a whole different understanding coming back in your second year. You're more comfortable. You feel better, about, just it's everything. I just understand everything. But as a team, understand where Julius wants the ball, where RJ likes to get his shots from. So coming back in a year two is definitely more comfortable.
And actually, ladies and gentlemen, that was Emmanuel quickly talking about coming back in year 2. So we'll start off with that, and then we'll get to his training. All right? Being comfortable, coming back in year 2. I like that he said he'll understand better how to find Julius Randle, right? How to find RJ Barrett, how to get those guys the ball in their spots. We heard his coach say that this guy can be a point guard. Those are the thoughts of a point guard. You heard his coach say, yeah, he studies. He does film. You heard him say that he used to come back every night, 45 minutes away from the gym with the janitor so he can work out. Right? So I'm hoping that, what he says is the truth. Nate, I'll start with you. Any thoughts on just that right there that you heard from quickly? We want to make this quick because we have a few other clips from Emmanuel quickly that we want to get to.
Yeah. So my thought process is that, a player's going to make the biggest jump from year 1 to 2. Yeah, he sounds like he's got the mindset that he's going to try to be more facilitated this year, get other players involved because he knows the team's a lot better and has a lot more scoring options, and he's not going to be asked to score as much as he did last year because of the other options we have. So he's going in with the right mentality, and I think the Summer League showed that he has the ability to pass the ball. So I definitely expect him to be more facilitator this year.
Okay. All right. He tried his best during the Summer League, and I don't mean to say that facetiously. He was trying and he was working towards it. He was learning. He was developing. I still believe he's best suited to be a scorer and to come out with a scorer's mindset, but I'm interested to see how he develops, and I want to see him work towards it because the Knicks need a third guy that can come in and be a point guard. And I know the point guard position has changed and people want young guys to score or the guards to score and all of that. I still think that you need a guy that can be your leader out there on the floor. They can be a scorer. That's cool, but they've got to be a leader too, in my opinion. Josh, what do you think?
I agree with you. In the case of Emmanuel quickly, I think his facilitation and the improvement in facilitation is going to come from his ability to be comfortable in his role as a scorer. I think the facilitation is going to come naturally because he is so good of a scorer. We talked with the high school coach about the pick and roll and Emmanuel quickly's ability to find lobs off of the pick and roll by using his floater, using that floater game high off the glass, and being able to suck the defense in. You can be able to get assists that way from, running the pick and roll and getting to the paint. So I definitely agree with that. And I think it's going to be something that's going to come naturally, to be honest, once he gets more comfortable with scoring in the mid-range and all that, what have you.
Okay. Andy?
No, not to repeat you guys, the third time. I just got my fingers crossed that he's not going to lie to me. He's going to try to be a facilitator way more than in the Summer League and then the last season. So got my fingers crossed for that.
All right.
Hey, Sim, can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Also, just the tone of the way he was talking. Now, I really haven't heard him talk a lot, but it just seemed like he had more of a professional type of tone, the way he kind of explained like where coming into year 2, what it's going to be like. And I think that it starts with your tone and how you say things, to where like if it's going to equate to your thought process and all that. So whether he's giving us coach speak or not, I do believe that sounds a lot more grown up. He definitely sounds like he's more of a team player than maybe some people might give him credit for. And that's good. That I like to hear that going forward with him.
Okay. Now, I don't think that he's a selfish player. I just think it's the style of basketball that he plays. Right? So I'm not here to say, oh, yeah, he's, this super selfish guy. I just think that's Emmanuel Quickly's style of play. And, if the coach asks him to do one thing, I think he can do it. But he's obviously going to be more comfortable with his style of play. All right, let's get to this next clip of Emmanuel Quickly. This is him talking about his development over the summer.
I dedicated a lot to my summer in terms of working on my body, getting stronger. Defensively, I feel like I'll be able to take a step this year, and that's going to be big on this team is guarding, just to be able to stay on the floor, stay in front of key guys and things like that. And then my passing ability, I feel like it's gotten better. And then just working on my strength, shooting. I'm going to still have my floater and being able to shoot pull-ups, I feel like it's something that I've added to my game as well. So just my all-around game, I feel like, I've tried to work on a lot.
All right. I'm going to tell you what I love that I heard there. Pull-up jumper. Said he's working, he's been working on that pull-up jumper. It's something that I understand. I do understand that you need an off season. You need your off seasons to develop and to learn. But I so wanted him to develop a pull-up. And we did see in the summer league, he tried to pull it up a few times. I don't remember if he converted on those pull-ups. But I'm glad, very glad he's working on a pull-up. Andy, talk to me, man, because I know that's something that you want.
Yes, and
you don't like the floater.
no,
that much.
the pull-up jumper, I'm cool with. But I heard that he wants to stay in front of key guys on defense. That's what I would love to see from Quickly, because for me, he's not known as a great defender. And losing Reggie and even Alfred, we took a shot on the perimeter defense. So I'm hoping that he can fill that void in at least a better situation and place that he did last season. And I'm going to be really, really happy if he, the scoring ability of his, I wasn't afraid. If it's going to be a pull-up jumper or a floater, if it's going to go in, I'm not going to cry. But the defense for me at the beginning of the season was atrocious. It developed throughout the season. So I saw improvement. I'm not going to lie. I saw improvement and I was happy with it. But him mentioning it on day one of, on training camp, I'm happy that he, noticed it for all the fans here. So let's see, if it really is going to happen.
Yeah, that defense. If he can, I don't know if he's going to become a lockdown defender. You never know.
Right.
We'll see what kind of, how he's dedicating himself to become a defender. But the fact that he said that, I do think that means a lot. Josh, what do you think?
Absolutely. I personally think that, and a lot of fans will say this, this comes from last season, but from day one, you can tell that all the players have bought into what Tibbs is trying to do on the defensive side of the ball. Like everyone's buying in. You got guys like Quickly and, a lot of other guys out there, mentioning defense. We all know that Knicks need to improve on their offense collectively as a team. But for guys this early and Quickly, being that young of a guy to be buying in defensively like that, I think that speaks volumes to what Thibodeau has instilled within the program. And I do agree that, I'm glad to see that Emmanuel Quickly acknowledges that he needs to develop a jump shot instead of the floater all the time, because I think that those are, be a little bit more high efficiency shots if he takes those jump shots as opposed to floaters all the time. So, all this stuff sounds really good from Quickly. We just got to see it being put into action.
Yeah, exactly. We got to see it put into action. And that's what training camp is for, obviously. And that's what preseason games are for, for him to put those things into action I'm assuming soon we're gonna see some video from training camp, right? Probably tomorrow, I'll say. Sometime tomorrow we'll see some video from training camp. Last but not least, with Emmanuel quickly, I want to listen to him talk about his connection with Obi Toppin, right? His relationship with Obi Toppin and the fact that they've been working out just about all summer. Tom Thibodeau talked about it as well. So this is quickly on him and Obi Toppin working together.
Yeah, I've been with Obi pretty much all summer. We did a lot of two-a-days, coming in the morning, working out, and then coming back and getting shots and lifting and things like that. So, we put a lot of work into this off season. We understand it's a big season coming up, so we want to be prepared. We want to have our bodies prepared and things like that. Coming here, there's not a lot of distractions. White Plains, it's not too much to do besides hoops and go home, sleep, and then come back at night. So that's what we're about. We're about working, and that's the most important thing.
Did you know Obi before you got drafted together?
I knew of him. I didn't exactly know him face to face. We knew mutual people, but I knew of him. I seen one time we were at Kentucky watching him playing against somebody. He went between the legs, dunked it. So I knew what he was doing before he was doing it, basically.
How's that relationship felt?
It's great. Like I said, we had all of last season we were together, getting the towels, for everybody, passing out loops at 3 a.m. on a road trip. So, we learned a lot from each other, and just being able to talk to him about my season and him being able to talk to me about his season. I feel like, we've learned a lot. And then obviously Summer League playing together, we've been together pretty much for 2 years now.
All right. What he said it. They've been together for 2 years almost. They're developing a connection. They're developing chemistry. How big is that chemistry going to be in the second unit, Josh?
Oh, it's going to be phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm looking forward to the second unit. First and foremost, we've seen what these guys did together in Summer League. They looked really, really confident out there. My big thing for both of those guys was confidence, particularly Obi. And now that you have Emmanuel Quickly, who got a lot more minutes than Toppin last year, you have him, those guys working out together. That can only bode well for Obi's confidence. And I'm looking forward to how these guys are going to mesh in that second unit together. I expect to see a lot of alley-oops, a lot of camaraderie on the floor, and a lot of, two-man game between those guys, maybe some pick and rolls, some things of that nature. So I'm really, really excited for that.
Yeah, and, we've all talked about how we want IQ to be more of a facilitator. Some of that comes with being comfortable with your teammates. Now he'll be in that lineup where he's with Alec Burks for a year, Derrick Rose for a year, Obi Toppin, Nerlens Noel. So there's going to be a little more chemistry. He'll understand what guys in his unit want the basketball. So I think that's definitely going to be a benefit, especially with those two guys that we think are going to be cornerstones, and Cornerstone Kev left out of here. Cornerstones for this franchise for a little while, working together, playing together, and developing that chemistry. Andy, any thoughts that you have?
Yes, listen, like you said about the chemistry. I think the point guard position in the NBA is the hardest to learn, and every minute spent on the court, even if it's a practice game, if it's a scrimmage, whatever, summer league game, it's really important, like you said, to know where your partner wants the ball. So even listen, if you're a center, you can run around the court, and if you don't get the ball, you don't look bad, right? If you're a point guard and you mess up the play, pass it behind the guy, or bounce it off your foot, whatever, it looks bad on you. So and it also comes to the to the pull-up jumper and to the floater. I think the floater is the easiest shot to take. I mean, like in a situation that you release it really fast, you don't have to stop, pop. The defense can't react basically on you. So that's why I think, him being more comfortable, we're going to see more pull-up shots than those floaters. And I think that was like his escape shot. So, he can get the defender off him, or at least, get rid of the ball. And since they were falling, he was using them. But I think, every, pull-up jumper is going to be a way more efficient shot than a floater at this point.
Yeah. Now, I don't have the clip. If you want to check out the clip, ladies and gentlemen, there's a link in the description of the video where you can check out the full clips of each one of these videos on the New York Knicks YouTube page. But he did mention that he's been studying and paying attention to any rule changes that go on in the NBA because, right now they're looking at how players draw fouls and how players sucker in the referees to giving them fouls by, certain moves that they do. Tom Thibodeau talked about it as well in his interview, that players are really, really smart and learning how to play between the rules. He didn't use those words. I'm using those words. But basically, that's what he's saying, right? Play between the rules and learn how to manipulate the rules in your favor. Emmanuel Quickly, his high school coach said he's very cerebral. Tom Thibodeau seems to echo those sentiments. I'm interested to see this year if he's going to come out and search out those foul calls or if he's going to just play basketball. Now, he did say, he's got to learn new ways to draw fouls. I don't know. New ways to draw fouls. I just want him to go out and play, right? Just play the basketball game. Use conventional ways to draw fouls. Throw up a pump fake, get the guy in the air, make sure he hits you. All of these other things, I like it when it works for us, but when it doesn't work for us, I get heated. And I feel like he's the type of player because he can penetrate to the basket. He has so much speed. If he masters that pull-up, he's going to get fouled anyway. You know what I mean? I don't want him wasting possessions searching for the foul. I just want him to play basketball, and he'll create the foul, whichever way that it is. Andy, I see you laughing there.
Yeah, because Tibbs also in his interview, it was a 15-minute interview over, so it was a long one. But I encourage all Knicks fans to go watch it, and I bet you guys did. Listen, he said that they're gonna have an NBA ref in the training facility just to talk with the guys. What are they gonna look for and stuff like that? And I bet you Emmanuel Quickly will sit in the front row, not because he's one of the smallest guys in that room,
Right?
but he's gonna listen closely to what the ref is gonna say. So
yeah, I can. You can guarantee that. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, and also, I think the rule has changed. Like you can't for going up for 3-pointers, you can't lean into the defender to draw that contact. That rule has now been outlawed in the NBA. So a lot of these James Harden-like fouls, and I say James Harden-like because he pretty much invented that whole thing. It really became a thing around the league. Now Trae Young is using it. Quickly did so last year as well. He can't do that anymore. So there needs to be, a better way for Quickly to try to draw those fouls, a more natural way, so to speak. And that also has to be a focus of improvement for him coming into the season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're gonna get back to Quickly because I know Nate wants to get in and say something about Quickly, but I want to play this clip of Nerlens Noel. He's talking about 3-point shooting. He's going to become a 3-point shooter, ladies and gentlemen. He's been working on that 3-point game. I'll let you hear it from Nerlens Noel. I'm not going to say it. I'll let you hear it from Nerlens, all right? This is Noel talking about him working on his 3-point game.
I'm getting a lot of threes, try to expand my game to that corner three. I'm gonna definitely tread lightly coming in, seeing what it's like, but I got in the green light for the most part. So I just got to keep getting the reps up and make sure it falls in game time, and I'll be able to implement that.
They asked you to work out this off season, they want me to expand out this summer.
Oh yeah, definitely, and it's something I've been working on. But like you said earlier, being on 1-year deals, you never know how much you can really do. So getting this comfortability with this type of situation, even the day I signed the contract and I met with them, they told me, and make it a conscious effort to, make it a game shot, not just, after practice and et cetera. So, but, all the times I've, put in work into fixing my shot from Kentucky to through high school, shooting on the other side of myself. it's calibrated right. So I feel like I can knock it down, have the confidence, and also just been the proof is in the pudding. Just gotta keep working on it.
All right. Now, before we even get into it, last year I think Nerlens Noel attempted 2 3-point shots. I'm not gonna lie to you. It wasn't like they were air balls or they went out to the moon somewhere. They were on target. I think they were short, but they were on target. They were on target. Any thoughts? Who wants to jump in? Anybody? Jump in.
Go
Talk
ahead,
to
Nate.
anybody.
Go ahead,
Nate.
All right. So I don't understand why all these bigs want to shoot threes. I mean, I get that that's kind of the way the game's going. But here's the thing. If he could just shoot a jump shot, he don't have to shoot 3-pointers. He just needs to be a threat offensively for us. And all he has to do is have a little jumper. That's all he needs to work on. I don't want to see him shooting threes. He can pretend to shoot threes, but, fake and take to the rim, but don't be shooting threes. I want to see him in the paint. I want to see him shooting jumpers. Perfect the jumper before you get to the 3-pointer. If you get the jumper down, then you go to 3-pointer. Don't go from, B to D or whatever it is. Follow the steps. Inside, mid range, 3-pointer.
But see,
that's my only thing about him.
But,
I want him to shoot threes. Period.
But he's been able to knock down the mid-range shot.
Well, hit it. Well, I want to see that more, Sim.
Well, I
want to see a consistent jumper more.
But he's not really a staple of the offense. You're not designing the offense to hit Nerlens Noel on a pick and pop for him to pull the mid-range. That's not what you're doing. He pulls it when it's necessary. And when he has pulled it, he hit it. Go ahead, Josh. I see, you got a controversial look on your face.
I mean, listen, as a former, offensive coordinator for a high school team, football coach, and myself, one of the most frustrating things was to watch offensive linemen try to play quarterback in practice or line up at receiver, messing around. It's like, we don't need you to be doing that. We need you to be down in the paint. We need you to, work on other aspects of your game that's more likely for you to do in a game other than shooting a 3-pointer. Like Nerlens Noel, I understand what you're saying about Nerlens Noel being, pretty decent in the mid-range when the opportunities are there and him not forcing it, but the opportunity is there. He has shown that capability to knock that shot down. But how about working on that more, perfecting that, working on a post-game offensively instead of stepping out to to the 3-point line during the game? Nerlens Noel is not going to be shooting 3-pointers. I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen. Now, can he develop that over time? Maybe, perhaps, but how old is he? At this stage in the game, you want to start to shoot 3-pointers in the game. So I just think it's a little bit unnecessary. I'm not going to knock him for working on his game to improve other aspects of his game, but actually put into practice what you're going to do in the game instead of trying to do stuff that the Knicks are not going to have you do in the game. If Mickey Robinson can't do it, makes you think Nerlens Noel out of all people are going to do it.
But this is what the coaching staff told him to do. He said he got the green light.
I don't believe that, Sam. I don't believe that at all.
You know what? I'm going to show you. I'm looking for it now. I'm going to show you a picture. And on the wall, Tom Thibodeau has on the wall, shoot threes. Okay? Shoot threes. This is going to be a strategy of the New York Knicks this season. Don't be surprised if this team is shooting 45 threes in a game.
Nerlens Noel, though, Sam? Nerlens Noel?
Okay, first, Andy, I'm going to get to you in 1 second. I just want to, first of all, your whole little thing about offensive linemen throwing the ball like they're a quarterback. We're not asking Nerlens Noel to play point guard. Okay? How many times have you seen wait a minute. Hold up. Because if you've seen offensive linemen actually catching the ball, you'd be okay with that. Right? Because no, I've played football for a while, and I've seen plenty of offensive linemen turn into tight ends because tight ends block too. And I've seen them. My son actually went from offensive lineman to a tight end. Okay? If this is what is the equivalent of Nerlens Noel shooting a three. We're not asking him to practice dribbling the ball up the floor. We're asking him, if he gets open from the 3-point line, to be able to shoot it. Okay? Not that he's going to come down, dribble down, and just launch up threes. No, They want him to be able to keep the defense honest because that opens up the floor and it spreads it wider so that you can have more room for Julius Randle to post up. You can have more lanes for R.J. Barrett, Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier to drive because they at least respect the fact that he will shoot it. There's a difference between somebody shooting 6, 7 3-pointers a game and shooting 1 or 2 because you're open and it makes that defender respect you. There's a big difference between the two.
Stem, and I'm not assuming that's what the Knicks want him to do, shoot 6, 7 3-pointers a game. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think, that's the obvious extreme. What I'm saying is Nerlens Noel needs to be focused on developing his offensive game in other ways outside of a 3-point shot. He can get better offensively within the 3-point line, inside, from a mid-range, from a post perspective, his footwork, a turnaround, something like that. But
that's okay. But what I'm saying is, if the coaching staff asked you to work on your 3-point game, then that's what you do. They obviously have a scheme. There's 24 hours in a day. You can spend an hour working on your 3-point game and still spend 3 hours working on your post moves and still have enough time to go home, sleep, eat, watch TV. Let me get to Andy.
Yes, you stole my thunder.
Sorry,
I was waiting to do, the spreading the court and stuff like that.
But do it again because he needs to hear it. I don't think he gets it.
And listen, that tells me that Thibs is planning to revamp the offense on, trying to move Nerlens out of the paint for Julius to have way more space to play the pick and roll on one side and Nerlens to be, in the corner. Why in the corner also? Because he can cut from there straight up to the hoop, get that rebound. But then again, listen, guys, we knocked Nerlens Noel for not catching the ball so many times. I'd rather him not catch the ball in the corner because that's going to prevent a fast break. If he loses the ball under the rim, it's like 1-2 passes and the guys are having an easy layup versus us on our court, on our half side. So, and him losing the ball in the corner is not going to hurt us because they're going to have to get it out of bounds and stuff like that. Is he going to be a Sam Perkins 3-point shooter? No, probably. But listen, Brook Lopez in first 4 or 5 seasons, he took like 1 or 2 3-pointers. He's a lethal 3-point threat on the Bucks now. And I'm not saying that Nerlens is going to be that, but like Sim said, if he can take 1 or 2 and take that center out so Julius can have more space under the rim, I'm all for it. And listen, he's going to be open there. It's not like he's going to be taking a shot with a hand in his face. He's going to be wide open in that corner, at least till midseason.
Andy, I love you. You're my brother, but I think that's an absolute abysmal comparison. Absolute abysmal. Brook Lopez shown the ability to work in the post in his first couple years in the NBA. He showed some sort of offensive ability inside.
And you want Nerlens with his body and with his mass to be working in the paint, bro. He can't work in the paint even if he wanted to. I got more weight than Nerlens on me. So listen, I don't think he can be a threat on the offensive end. Whether it's an alley-oop or it's a corner 3, that's only things. Maybe a putback here and there, but he's not going to be an offensive threat for any team.
Right. And the thing is, we don't need Nerlens Noel posting in the paint.
Yeah.
We don't need him to do that. We have a guy that can do that already in that lineup. If that was something that he could do, that's great. But we don't need him to do that. He can post. Julius Randle can already post up. Why do
even RJ Sim?
And RJ can
just put him on the opposite corner and even give the ball to RJ down low. He can bully someone under there.
Julius Randle is more of a player now. Julius Randle doesn't play in the post much. Julius Randle plays on the perimeter. The ball is in his hands at the top of the key and on the wings outside the 3-point line for the most part. He doesn't play bully ball on the inside as much as he does on the outside. Look at the shot charts. Look at how the Knicks ran their offense last season. So I agree. Listen,
but Julius Randle still scored a high percentage of his points from the post area. And that is the way that Julius Randle collapsed the defense. How do you think R.J. Barrett, Elfrid Payton, and Derrick Rose, or whoever was playing the point guard at that time, received those wide open threes? Because Julius Randle was in the post. He pounded his way down. He got double and triple teamed, and he kicked it out to a shooter. That's how he got his assist last year. He didn't get his assist by directing the offense. He was in the post, created a double team, kicked it out, and that's how those guys got open threes.
I agree. I agree with the premise of the Knicks, wanting to have a center to spread the offense, spread out a five out basically, to open up those driving lanes for the rest of the team. I totally agree with that. I just don't think Nerlens Noel is that player. If you're talking about Karl-Anthony Towns, that'd be a total different story. But he's not on the team right now. I just don't think Nerlens Noel is that player. And quite honestly, you mentioned about the Knicks being able to collapse the defense to hit open 3-pointers. A lot of that was because of Derrick Rose's ability to drop to the basket. And Julius Randle's ability to drop to the basket from the 3-point line, going inside.
Oh, Julius, I guarantee you, if you go watch how many times those open 3-pointers came because Julius Randle was on the box and the double or triple team came. He might have started on the wing, but he worked his way down to the box. And then he would kick it out. I see nothing wrong with taking your center, a center that does not post up anyway, a center that doesn't have the ability to jump high, putting him in the corner. So now you have your opposing center out of the paint, and it opens up the lanes for Kemba, for Fournier, for RJ, and for Julius Randle. And if he's out in the paint,
Tim, can I say something? I'm sorry.
And if he's out in the corner, and they say, he's not shooting it, so we're going to let our center inch all the way into that dunker spot. Then they kick it to Nerlens. Guess what? You're going to want him to be able to shoot it. And it's not going to be every single play. It's going to be when they decide we're going to pinch our big man in. I don't see anything wrong with it at all. Because the times when he did shoot it, about two or three times this season, it was actually online. It looked like it could go in. It just missed. I don't think that
Sam, I got a question.
It's going to be as bad as you might think. People thought that about Amari Stoudemire. He hit a few of them. People, you're gonna show him how to. You want him to shoot threes? The game has changed. Everybody always says the game is different now. I get that, but we need Nerlens Noel to be in the box dunking on people. Get out of here. He's not doing that.
Amari Stoudemire was way more polished offensively. Way more polished.
But he wasn't a 3-point shooter. He wasn't a 3-point shooter. But he started to expand his game. He worked and started to expand his game. Why did he develop it? Because he worked on it. That's the only way to develop it. Obviously, the coaching staff sees something with Nerlens Noel because they told him specifically, we want you to do it from the corner. So it's not like he's just shooting all willy-nilly all over the court. They told him, shoot it from the corner. So like Andy said, it tells you that they're going to change what they're doing offensively and put Nerlens Noel in the corner. The coaching staff is telling them to do it. How can you argue with them? Go ahead, Nate.
So, Sam, I agree with everything you and Andy are saying about this. Josh, I understand what you're saying too. So my only thing is that you mentioned rebounding. So if you put Nerlens on the perimeter, doesn't that take away from your offensive rebounding opportunities and put more pressure on Julius Randle to get those boards?
Nerlens Noel is not a great offensive rebounder. You're not missing a lot from Nerlens Noel in the offensive rebounder.
But he's got athleticism and the threat to put back. Let's say if it was Mitch let's say if it's Mitch that they want Mitch to do the same thing. And he's a good offensive rebounder. You're putting him on the perimeter. Aren't you taking away that?
But now you're going with the hypothetical. No one knows if they asked Mitch to do that. Because they might want Mitch to stay under the basket.
Want to do it.
They might want Mitch to stay under the basket to rebound and maybe shoot it when it's available. Right? But you also got to look at this. If you have Nerlens Noel out on the perimeter, That center's also out on the perimeter. So you're also taking a rebounder out of the paint. And you have guards like R.J. Barrett, who averaged 6 to 7 rebounds last season. He can rebound the basketball.
That's true.
Evan Fournier, he's not a great rebounder, but he can get in there and rebound the basketball. Kemba Walker can rebound the basketball. Obviously, Julius Randle can rebound the ball. There's other ways to offensively rebound besides Nerlens Noel, who only averaged 5 rebounds last year.
Yeah. I guess I'm old school because I just like my bigs inside. I like my bigs to do the dirty work, get the rebounds. I don't believe in this whole bigs to shoot three-pointers thing. I understand it, but I don't like it. Because what happens is a lot of these bigs, i.e. Brook Lopez, who was very inside.
We're losing you, Nate. We're losing you. I don't know. I think that, I think it's perfectly fine. I have no problems with, Nerlens Noel working on the three. Doesn't mean he's going to come out and shoot it every time he steps on the floor. It's just part of the basketball game.
And I totally understand that as well. I don't think, a picture, of him standing behind a three-point line, shooting three-pointers. I don't think that's saying that he's going to shoot a lot of threes. I'm not going to that extreme. But what I am saying is I totally understand the scheme of it. I understand the reason why you would want to have a five or a center go out and shoot threes. I just don't think Nerlens Noel is that guy because offensively, he can't do anything else. And he's never really been able to do anything else offensively. Like, I would rather him work more inside, at something. You said it yourself that he was able to knock down the mid-range jump shot a little bit. How about him perfecting that and working on that more? I think that helps the offense more than.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you. I don't know what his percentages were, but he probably shot it. Out of the times that he shot it this season, he probably shot it 50%. So what are you asking him to shoot it at?
No, I like Nerlens Noel doing that, but I want to see more of that. I think that can help the offense. That can open up the offense a little bit more in the mid-range.
But what I'm saying is you're saying you want him to work on that shot. What do you want him to do to work on it?
I don't want him to work on that shot per se. I want him to develop more in the mid-range inside the arc.
That's not his call. That's not his call. It's the coach's call to say, we're going to develop a scheme that gets Nerlens Noel open from the mid-range. That's the coach's call, not him. If he can hit it, he can hit it. It is the coach's call to say we're going to open up the scheme, not Nerlens. So I don't know what you want him to do there. I'm sure he's still working on his shot.
I want him to work more in the mid-range. I just don't see a point. And I honestly don't think Nerlens Noel is going to be taking three-pointers in the game. I really don't. I just don't see that. Tom Thibodeau's never been that type of coach to have, except for with the exception of Minnesota, because Karl Anthony Towns had that in his bag. He was able to do that. Outside of that, I don't see Nerlens Noel shooting three-pointers. I mean, I just don't.
Well, I think
if you see it in preseason, it's going to be something in the NBA.
I think it's.
And if Mitchell Robinson wasn't able to do it, I just don't see Nerlens Noel doing it. That's just my opinion. Agree to disagree.
What do you mean if Mitchell Robinson wasn't able to do it?
Mitchell Robinson wasn't taking three-pointers during the game. He had the whole thing.
Neither one of them was taking. Hold up. Neither one of them were taking three-pointers last year. That doesn't mean this year that he's not changing his coaching philosophy.
I'm saying I just don't see it happening based on who Tom Thibodeau was as a coach. That throughout all these years, I just don't see that.
Well, I'm telling you right now, and I can't find the picture. I'm trying to find the picture, but there is a picture with R.J. Barrett standing in front of a wall, and it has their defensive principles and it has their offensive principles. And on their offensive principles, one of the principles is straight up. It just says, shoot threes. Shoot
I just want to see it in practice.
Threes.
I want to see it in practice. I want to see it in a practical way instead of
Sim, I got a question for you, Sim.
Go ahead, Nate.
Can you hear me, Sim? Oh.
Yeah.
So everything that we've been hearing from Tibbs and everything we've been hearing from players, it seems like the philosophy is still defensive first, but it looks like there's going to be a big uptick on the offense. Are you concerned? Because Alan Hahn brought up a great point in that little video he sent last night, that because we lost guys like Bullock, Payton, those are defensive-minded players, and we added Fournier, Kemba Walker, let's be honest, are not defensive-minded players. You're going to see a drop-off in some of the defense. Do you think that's going to be possible? Because the fact is they're going to want to do like a good top 10 defense and more like a top 15 offense. Do you kind of see that philosophy going on this year? Because that's what I see. I see more offensive talk, and maybe the defense is behind the scenes. But I think this team's going to be better offensively, but we could see a drop in the defense.
I mean, I think you're going to see a drop in the defense because you don't have the same defenders on the team. But we needed an uptick in offense. It was going to be very hard unless you're bringing in a super duper star. It's very hard to bring in a guy that's going to help you take an uptick in offense as well as an uptick in defense or remain the same in defense. It's very hard. You know what I mean? So you have to decide, do we stay just this hardcore defensive team that can shut down people, or do we try to put together a team that has balance on both sides? In the playoffs, the Knicks couldn't score. That's what lost us that series. We could not score the basketball. We need to be able to score.
And I think that needs to come from the guards and the wings rather than, a guy who just has never been an offensive player.
It is coming from the guards and the wings. That's the whole purpose on putting him out there, so that your guards and wings can have room to penetrate. That is the purpose of putting him out on the wing. In the corner,
They want to space more.
The purpose of putting Nerlens Noel in the corner is so that you don't have a shot-blocking center patrolling the paint. When you have Nerlens Noel or Mitch in that dunker spot, or on the post, or on the elbow, you got a shot blocker patrolling the paint. You take him, you put him somewhere out there in the corner, and they have to respect that guy's shot. All of a sudden, that paint is wide open for guards to penetrate.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you right now, Sam, I am never respecting Nerlens Noel shot. My game plan will to be guard those guards.
And that is the whole reason why they are having him work on the shot. All he has to do is hit the rim, and it looks like it can go in. You're laughing at that? You know what? Hold up. You're laughing at that? You're laughing at that, right? But if you go out and you play somebody and they shoot it and it hits the rim, you're going to say, he might be able to make that. Let me take another step closer to him. That's what happens when you play basketball.
Or just let him get there until
right? You say,
he makes it.
He looks like, now, if he shoots it and it goes way over the rim somewhere, you're like, all right, he ain't going to knock it down. You know what I'm saying? But if it looks like it can go in, you're going to respect it. And if he hits one, if he's shooting 29%, they're at least going to respect it and say, he can at least hit it. Let me respect this a little bit more. But if you know he's not going to shoot it at all, he's going to get it and look to get it back out to the guard, you're not even going to look his way. You're going to turn your back on him and go under the basket. But if you know that he will at least shoot it, you're going to pay attention to him. That's what the whole point
So the
is.
example I think of,
Nerlens Noel for the three-pointer is the most low percentage shot that the Knicks can have right now.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we will see. We will see. We will see. Because, we will see. I want to see Josh shoot a three-pointer.
Yo, I was Josh. I was gonna say I'd rather see an open 3-pointer from Nerlens Noel than him being bumped by Joel Embiid and pulling up a turnaround jumper.
Exactly.
Three is always better than two at the end of the day, Andy.
And both can have the same outcome.
But Josh, you got to think about it. You got to think about it like this, Josh, because I think they're trying to do this philosophy. You remember Miles Turner? Miles Turner came into the NBA, was a big guy, shot blocker, couldn't shoot worth a lick, still can't shoot worth a lick. But the thing is, he's a threat to shoot threes. He doesn't shoot a high clip, but hey, he makes them once in a while, so the defense has to respect it. And I think that's probably what they're going to do with Noel. If Noel gets down in the shot clock and he's out there in the three, hey, take the shot. At least let him know you're a threat. But yeah, I don't see situations where he's going to be shooting a lot of threes. And if he is,
I don't think anybody's saying that. I don't think anybody's saying that at all.
Exactly.
Well, anyway, I want to get to Cornerstone Kev. Cornerstone Kev is looking in here and he's looking, he's getting bored. You know what I mean? You know, we don't want someone who already is too good for NBK to get bored. Okay, so we got to get this brother in here really, really quick. All right, so let's get Cornerstone Kev in the building. And
Hey guys, I'm back.
You're
Back
back.
in the New York groove.
You're back. So anything that you
Hey,
heard, Kev, from
yeah,
everything
yeah,
that we've been talking about, anything that you heard that, you know, really sticks out to you.
yeah. Well, unfortunately, I only caught the last part where you were talking about knowing so well. Josh, I want to say that you have to make yourself a threat. If you don't make yourself a threat, that's going to be a problem. So and that's pretty much what was going on last year, when you had Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. Those are the only two guys that were really a threat. Everybody else was like, everybody else is like, just stay home and just, well, not stay home, but just, guard these guys as much as you can and just sag off of, whoever. I mean, you had to respect Reggie Bullock a little bit, but no one was respecting Nerlens Noel, and really nobody was respecting Elfrid Payton either. Now that you got these guys, they want all five on the floor to be a threat. So yes, if Nerlens was, it was practicing shooting a baby jumper or a three or whatever, fine. You've got to make yourself a threat. So I agree with what these guys are saying about he's going to make it. And when that does happen, I agree with Sim where he says that, okay, maybe I got to, D this guy up a little bit, tougher and everything. But even if he shoots it over the rim, over the basket, and everything, at least he's trying to make himself a threat and not, being afraid of, taking a shot. So that's where where I stand on that. I'm glad Nerlens is taking, doing his due diligence with trying to make himself a threat on the offensive end.
Yeah. Anything else, Kev? Because I'm about to head up out of here. Anything else that?
Okay.
Any other thoughts that you have about what you've heard so far in training camp, or what you've seen so far in training camp?
Hey man, from what I heard from Quickly, I love this kid's attitude. I think he's going to have a great second year. It was good to hear how him and Obi, who you're not really high on, but I'm glad that those guys, after the season was finished, went back to the lab to work on their craft. And then the new guys, how they're trying to mentor them, coming in. It shows that professionalism. It shows that that they want that chemistry to work. I'm just glad that we have this now, because when was it that we had a group of guys like this, and having the stability, having the culture. When have we had that in a long while? We haven't. I'm just liking what I'm hearing from everybody. Really.
All right. Yeah, you're right. We haven't had that in a long while, and it looks like we have at least a resemblance of it right now.
Right.
Andy.
Yeah.
Any last minute
Listen,
thoughts?
it's only the first day, but like I said, fresh news from the Knicks. It's always something better than just pounding around and looking for a sensation on Twitter by someone. So at least these sources are reliable, because we hear it from the horse's mouth. So I'm happy with whatever they say.
Yeah. Josh?
Who's the horse?
It's them, I guess.
Yeah.
Salute to the MBK family. Listen, it's day one of training camp, and we're already having a heated discussion about already on day one. You know what I mean? So listen, it's gonna be great. I definitely can't wait to see what's gonna happen during the season. And listen, if Nerlens Noel can miraculously develop some sort of a 3-point shot, I think that would be a plus for the team. I'm definitely not saying that it won't. It definitely will be. I just don't see it happening, but I'm gonna be more optimistic because Cornerstone is here. And I love you and I miss you, brother.
I miss you too, man. I miss you too. Or even, you know what, Josh, also, maybe even a little hook shot or something. That's what these centers are
That's
missing.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, because
Bro, Nerlens Noel is not
yeah.
scoring in the post.
Okay.
It's not strong enough. He's not scoring. Did you see the size of his legs? His legs are skinnier than Obi's.
Yo, toothpick legs.
Right? He does not have the lower body strength to demand his spot in the post.
Sim, real quick, I just want to say, and I know we're talking about Nerlens Noel, but I just definitely want to say, I think the problems for the Knicks last season offensively came from more personnel than scheme. If the Knicks continue to run pick and roll, run more pick and roll with Kemba, with Evan Fournier, I think that'll do wonders for the offense. That now that they have those guys, rather than changing up the whole scheme overall. That's all I'm gonna say. Maybe they can run some sets. Maybe they can run some sets where they go 5 out. Maybe that's a new wrinkle.
But I don't think it's totally. I don't think that it's totally changing the offense, right? You just open it up more because now you can run screen and roll with Julius Randle without having Mitch or Nerlens Noel in the dunker spot. Because once Mitch or Nerlens Noel is in the dunker spot, you can't run that screen and roll for Julius Randle because you got a defender down there. All right. Now, if Nerlens Noel or Mitchell Robinson, if either one of them are successful in spreading the floor and knocking down the three, now you can have Mitch and Nerlens Noel on the floor at the same time because Nerlens Noel can go over into the corner and Mitch can run screen and roll with Kemba Walker or Evan Fournier or RJ Barrett or whoever. And then you got two shot blockers on the floor.
Yeah.
Because that means you can put Nerlens Noel at a power forward spot.
Yeah.
Because he can spread that floor out. If he shows
more like a Taj, kind of like a Taj Gibson,
kind of like a Taj Gibson can do.
Baseline jumper.
Right. So now you can have Nerlens Noel and Mitch on the floor at the same time while you're running that screen and roll, and you open the floor up even more.
I just gotta see it, Sam. That's it. I just gotta see it.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your time. We are heading up out of here. Day one from New York Knicks training camp. Already got a lot of heat coming in. And it's gonna be a lot more coming, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned to us. We're going to keep you updated with anything and everything going on. You can look for small videos that might come out, with little tidbits and thoughts here and there. All right. So make sure you go check it out. And I also have some short exclusive videos that's on Newsbreak specifically. So make sure you go into the description below and check me out on Newsbreak, ladies and gentlemen. Follow me on Newsbreak. There's a link in the description. And if you have not seen the exclusive interview that we had with Emmanuel Quickly's high school coach from the John Carroll School, make sure you check it out. It's pinned to the top of the YouTube chat. It was a very, very good interview. He gave us a lot of insight on Emmanuel Quickly. So go check that out. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm up out of here. Be peaceful. And I will definitely see y'all tomorrow. Yeah.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.